Bloop. Bloop. Oh, isn't she a thing of beauty? Check it out. The Jonsered, or preferably, or the correct pronunciation is Jonsered. The Jonsered 2258. What I've done here, gentlemen, is I was having hot start issues with this saw. So I put the 562 XP top cover on it and filter. I cut out these holes right here. I built a kick-ass hammerhead exhaust for it. And in order to get the top cover to look right and showcase the red frame rails right there, I like that, I utilized a Husqvarna 562 XP starter. The starter setup was orange, of course. This was orange. I dyed them black. There you have it. Man, stunning looking saw. But if my calculations are correct, it won't just be a good looking saw. It'll be a good running saw. I also ported it. This is the cylinder. So, but I did not take anything off the base because whenever I removed the base gasket, damn thing had 21,000 squish. So, okay, just left it at that. The big work are on these bottom transfers. There was a lot of stuff that could be done here on these bottom transfers. First off, this notch, it literally went all the way. It was higher than that. It was like that right there. It was up there, way up there. And you know, stuff like that it serves no purpose, really. So I just cut it out, and we got a nice smooth flow down to each transfer. And of course, took a lot of material out. These are substantially bigger than they were stock form. So we'll see if it does anything. But really easy port job, honestly. But we'll see. All right. The only cutting I've done with this so far is for that right there, so that I could take some pictures. I do know that this thing is loud. I have fired it up already, but I have not allowed the auto tune to calibrate itself. So we'll do that right out of the gate, I suppose. Give it a shot. Okay, so I was actually holding it back on that. Just letting it, I wanted as much time in the wood as possible. Let that auto-tune calibrate. So here we go. Okay, right off the bat, it does feel good. It's a good runner. However, it's not the amazing, that paint's burning off of that pipe immediately, like that. It's not the amazing powerhouse that I was hoping it was going to be, that's for sure. It does run good, and I would imagine that it would spank the heck out of a 562 XP, but I was hoping that it was going to spank the heck out of a 372 XP, so, or a 572 XP. So, but this is still on the first tank of fuel. Literally, it might be, actually, it's probably on the second tank. So it's completely unbroken in. And let's go get some other wood. So cut some actual firewood. Yeah? It started. No hot start issues so far. Okay, so it's already running better. I take back what I said before. It's running really good now. Yeah, you don't want to do that. That can crack your case. I'm gonna go get the Timberwolf. See how it does. Okay, so I know this isn't exactly fair. That's why it's not a whack-off. If it was exactly fair, it'd be a whack-off. So this has a steel RS chain on it. Hand's a 22-inch bar. So yeah, it ain't exactly fair. Here we go. Uh-oh. All right. Let's talk about these two fantastic saws. The Timberwolf still feels like it's got more torque. Now that Timberwolf is not stock, but I haven't done much to it. What we got going on is a proper muffler mod. I really opened up the can. A lot of people just drill a hole. I don't think that's enough. I mean, it's better than nothing, but I think that this muffler mod that I did will outperform most people's muffler mods. Just a thought. Because it's really open, and on those they're really hard to get open and actually work on. You got to be able to cut it apart, weld it back together and stuff in most cases. So because of that, most people just have a simple little, I just drill a hole in it kind of thing. But that thing I took all the guts out of it. I got a video of it if you want to see it. But anyways, and I also plugged the Hi-Jet with JB Weld. These things have a very typical, a known issue where you can't lean them out, and it's a safety issue kind of thing, or not really a safety. It's a longevity issue that Echo does from the factory. So I took care of that, and you can actually properly tune the carb somewhat. It's still funky, it really is. But as you can see, you know, I mean, it pulls really good. It's definitely spinning lower RPMs than this. This right here felt like it was massively faster. I don't know. I mean, it could be this exhaust that I got going on here fooling me, tricking me, because it's the way it sounds. That stuff happens to the best of us. It's real. We go, oh yeah, that sounds so great. Turns out it was just loud. But it does feel really zippy and quick and fast. Really zippy and quick and fast. It feels great. This, on the other hand, just feels like a good solid work saw. You know, that's just it. It feels like a good solid work saw. Nothing else, really. Got good torque. I was able to lean on it way harder than this. And that could be the chain is not as aggressive. Like I said, this isn't a tick for tack. You know, this isn't a perfect test. That's why it's not a whack off. I saved that stuff for the whack off. Here I'm just having fun cutting some firewood with two glorious saws. I mean, sometimes I feel bad I've got such cool saws. You know, and they're amazing. I love it. So on to the Jonsered here. So this is a 2258. You probably already heard in the video that I poured it and polished it, and I built a completely one-off custom exhaust for it. I call these things, when they look like this at least, I call them my hammerhead exhaust. So I actually got a science behind it. Comes out, hits a wall, bounces back. You know the dealio. If you want to learn more, look at my channel for building tuned exhaust pipes and stuff. So anyways, this thing's running great. It has not ran this great ever, but it's also new to me. This thing is, it definitely has not ran 2 tanks full through it. I think it's early on the second tank is what it is. So this is completely unbroken in, and another reason why it's not a fair comparison. This one right here at this point, it is nicely broken in. I mean, it's still pretty new, but I believe it's broken in. I'm with it, probably got about 12 tanks of fuel through it. But runs fantastic, great saw. I can't say enough good about it. The Jonsered here, my mother-in-law Jane bought it for me in Germany, brand new on the shelf. They still have some over there, very few, but, or at least they did whenever I was there in, what was it, like May? Yeah. Loving this saw, loving on it hardcore, but I did have really bad hot start issues. The heat would soak from the exhaust back into it and it would cause it to not start. So let's see if it starts now. I just gave it a pretty good workout. It's probably about 78 degrees here right now today, maybe 80. Gave it a good workout, and it sat there and rested for, what's it been, 5 or 6 minutes? Plenty of time for all that heat to soak back into your carb and in your gas tank and evaporate all the fuel that's in the carburetor and the lines. That's what heat soak is. So my dealio with the muffler exhaust like this and the top cover, all the modifications, I was trying to get the heat out. Looks like I succeeded. The port job is a good port, runs good, runs nice and strong. It clearly got better from whenever I first ran it to whenever I came over here and started running it. And you know, people say it a lot of times, cutting cookies is fun and we all like doing it, but there's nothing better than a real world test. This was a real world test. This is actually cutting some firewood, and it was totally different using it in that manner. Cookies are just, they're cookies. You know, this right here, I had to cut it a certain way to keep it from pinching and binding, and you know, things like that. It's pretty simple still, but yeah, it's different whenever you actually work them versus just simply cutting cookies. There's a big difference, I think. But out of these two saws, I know you're going to want to hear this one. Which would I recommend? Hands down, the Timberwolf. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. That is a fantastic saw, and you can get them. I said this in one of my other videos. Kevin Smith posted something on Facebook. There's a place in Ohio, I think it is, that's selling them right now. They're on sale, brand new, still in the box for $300. You cannot beat that deal. You can't beat that deal. It is torquier than this, I believe. It'll pull a long bar better than this will, I believe. Close, though, very close, really. This one's definitely got a lot more RPMs and zip, which is, you know, for a 60cc saw, I like to run a 22-inch bar. I don't like to go bigger than that. The Timberwolf right there has got a 22-inch bar. We're running a 20. And so we're outfitted, we're good. Perfectly fine. These saws right here run great. And you know, Tim Bauer, he said something to me a while back. We were talking, we were chatting about, you know, what makes the best saw. And he came up with a criteria that I am totally down for, right? I hear him. And the best saw that you're going to get is the saw that you reach for if you have to get up at 2 a.m. and go clear a blowdown damage off of the road. If you can only grab one saw to go and do a job like that, your neighbor calls and says, Bodie, a tree just fell on my house. I have to get it off of there, and I have to cover it with a tarp as quickly as possible. But you can only bring one chainsaw to that job. What's it going to be? Timberwolf right there. That thing's going to fire up and run and be perfect. 22-inch bar is already on it. It's long enough to get through almost anything. I mean, there's very few trees that I can't get through with that 22-inch bar. You know, hitting it from both sides. It's not the fastest thing. It's not the prettiest thing. Not the coolest thing. But it is awesome. And so is this. And seeing how I have the pleasure of owning multiple saws, which one do I prefer more? Hands down, no doubt about it. This one right here. So, you know, recommending something and realizing what is best, they're rarely the same thing. You know, I mean, really, it's, you know, if you want a hot 60cc saw, this is nice. The 562 XP is probably even nicer. I don't know. This thing, now that it's ported, I bet you it'll outrun a 562. It's running really good. And the more it runs and I get it broken in, I'm very happy with it. You know, the 562 has that deal where it has that rev boost. I don't care. I'm not going to be using this to cut 4 or 6 inch branches, stuff like that. I'm going to be using a small saw for that. This right here gets this type of stuff, you know, say 8 to 10 inches and bigger, you know. If it gets bigger than 18 inches, 20 inches, if it gets bigger than that, I ain't going to use this. I'm going to grab my 370, my cutter's edge, my 2172. If it gets too big for that, I'm going to grab my 592. So I know that not everybody has that luxury that I have to where I can just grab multiple different amazing cool saws. I know, I feel like an asshole even saying it, really. But I do have that luxury. And so since I have that luxury, this one right here, I don't need it in my lineup. I'm still going to continue to play with it, and I'm going to port and polish this one. And then I'll probably sell it. But you know, because this, I like my Jonsereds. You know, it's nice, and this thing's fun, it's zippy, it's cool. My mother-in-law bought it. It's got a lot going on, and I like it and I appreciate it. But if you only had to buy, if you could only buy one saw and your choices was between these two, get that Timberwolf. Get that Timberwolf. It's a great saw. But this one's better to me. All right, that's enough. Okay, so I just got done. Well, I guess technically I'm not finished. I'm not done with that, with editing this video. But I figured I'd throw in some words here at the end because, you know, when you're out there doing this stuff, guys, I mean, you can't possibly say all the things that you miss stuff. You do. After watching how close it was between the Jonsered and the Jonsered and the Timberwolf there. That sucks, you know. I thought it would be more than that. But they're wearing different chains. And, you know, they're wearing different chains, and the Jonsered is a long ways from being properly broken in. But as it is, though, I mean, I really thought, oh, man. You know, I was expecting more out of the Jonsered being ported like it has been. But, you know, it's an X-Torque saw. X-Torque sucks. X-Torque, I mean, I like the auto-tune. I think the auto-tune's great. But X-Torque, they've gotten better at it, for sure. They have gotten better. But, man, it robs power. It does. But anyways, yeah, it was surprising how close they were. And whenever I was running them, I mean, they felt different. They had different characteristics, you know. But they did feel very similar in power, which was kind of shocking to me, honestly, running them one after the other like that. Now, if I had just ran the Jonsered and not gotten the Echo, I'd be singing a different tune. I'd be going, oh, it's great, yeah, brr, brr, brr. Because, man, it feels good. It feels really punchy. It, like, really feeling aggressive and rev happy and nice. Very nice. It feels like a small 500i. It feels like that, you know. You give it that throttle and it's digging that chain in. It's good. But it's not a 500i. It's not. But that Echo really is surprising. The only thing that thing has had done to it, basically the carburetor was just tuned. There's no extra power that is given whenever you do the carburetor mod that I did of plugging the high jet. It just allows you to tune it a little bit easier. That's all. And just a muffler mod, a nice muffler mod, and it's broken in. That's it. Thing runs good. Thing runs really good. So yeah, if I had to guess what's going on horsepower wise with that 2258, I'd say it's probably 5.5, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe up to 6 or something like that. Joe just did a dyno for one that he did. You know, he actually did 562. I think, I can't remember, but he was getting that thing up to, I think, 6.5 horsepower, something like that, 6.4. So anyways, it runs good. And once it breaks in, I'll do an actual whack off with it and see how good it actually is, you know, see where it falls in the lineup. But I got other projects going on, but it won't be long. I'll be tackling that Timberwolf and porting it up and seeing how fast I can make it. We'll see. We will see. But anyways, that's all for this video. See ya.